Hello. Good afternoon. This is our devotional time together again. We are looking and reading from Leaning In, Letting Go, a Lenten devotional by Nicole Massey Martin. And today is for February 18th, the first Thursday of Lent. And today's focus is expect the unexpected. So the lesson comes from Exodus chapter 5, verses 10 through 23. And it's sort of a hard lesson to deal with, right? So let's read it together. And again, I am reading from the the Common English Bible. So the people's slave masters and their supervisors came out and spoke to the people. This is what Pharaoh says. I'm not giving you straw anymore. Go and get straw out on your own, wherever you can find it, but your work won't be reduced at all. So the people spread out all through the land of Egypt to gather stubble for straw. The slave masters drove them hard and said, make sure you make the same daily quota of when you had the straw. So make the same daily quota of bricks as when you had the straw. The Israelite supervisors whom Pharaoh's slave masters had set over them were also beaten and asked, why didn't you produce the same number of bricks yesterday and today as you did before? Then the Israelite supervisors came and pleaded to Pharaoh. Why do you treat your servants like this? Yet they say to us, make bricks. Look at how your servants are being beaten. Your own people are to blame. Pharaoh replied, you are lazy bums. You are nothing but lazy bums. That's why you say, let us go and make sacrifices to the Lord. Now get back to work. No straw will be given to you, but you will still need to make the same number of bricks. The Israelite supervisors saw how impossible their situation was when they were commanded, don't reduce your daily quota of bricks. When they left Pharaoh, they met Moses and Aaron, who were waiting for them. And the supervisors said to them, let the Lord see and judge what you have done. You've made us stink in the opinion of Pharaoh and his servants. You've given them a reason to kill us. Then Moses turned to the Lord and said, my Lord, why have you abused this people? Why did you send me for this? Ever since I first came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has abused this people. And you've done absolutely nothing to rescue your people. May God add a blessing to the reading, hearing, and understanding of God's holy word. Amen. Nicole Massey Martin focuses on these last two verses. She says, or she lifts up for us, then Moses turned again to the Lord and said, O Lord, why have you mistreated this people? Why did you ever send me? Since I first came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, Pharaoh has mistreated this people, and you have done nothing at all to deliver your people. Massey Martin writes, it was supposed to be different. When Moses agreed to follow God, things were supposed to get better. The lives of the Israelites should have gotten better. Moses and his family should have been better off. Saying yes to God was supposed to lead to increase, not decrease. But instead of getting better, things began to get worse. God met with Moses and promised to deliver the Israelites. God promised they would be free to worship and no longer bound to the Egyptians. But Pharaoh denied the request for worship and decided to make their lives worse. Demanding more bricks with less straw, the promise of freedom instantly turned into the reinforcement of slavery. Is this what God had in mind all along? Life with God is filled with promises and expectations. However, God's promises are not always fulfilled when or how we expect. We can be so focused on an expected result of a promise that we lose sight of the source of the promise. In our anguish, we want God to move quickly, wasting no time to do what God has promised to do. Yet, even in desperate times, we are called to reset our expectations of God. This becomes a sacred opportunity to take the focus off of what God does and refocus on who God is. What expectations must you surrender today? How can you redirect your attention from what God does to who God is? When you lean in, you might be surprised how God allows you to let go. While your assignment or your suffering may not immediately change, God can strengthen you to let go of the resentment associated with your pain. Leaning in helps us to discover that our trouble does not trouble God one bit. Now, I have to admit, this is a hard lesson. It was a hard conversation when we had it. Letting go of what God does versus who God is. Letting go of unrealistic expectations of us as human beings that we have of ourselves or that others have of us. When the tools to succeed have been removed, is a really hard lesson to learn right now, or a hard lesson to deal with right now. So I want to invite you to struggle with this question a little bit. How do you let go of what God does and focus on the goodness of who God is? It's a hard one. Let me offer this prayer that she offers. God, reset my expectations. Shift my gaze from your hands to your heart and carry me through all my troubles. Thank you for teaching me how to wait on you. Amen. I'll see you tomorrow.